Parents of kids in sports know the sales pitch. A high-profile coach promises college scholarships to your budding superstar. All they have to do is trust the coach. But who's protecting the trusting kids once the parents are sold? We poured over hundreds of pages of transcripts from a hearing involving a USA volleyball coach in 1995. 3 of his former players allege that he sexually abused them. Tonight, you will hear from them. The coach, Rick Butler, was never criminally charged, but he was at one time suspended for life by USA Volleyball. So why is he back in the gym? It's a question one Jacksonville volleyball coach is asking. For her, it's personal. She is one of Rick Butler's alleged victims.
You got to play D and hit so you don't have a wing.
Volleyball is a game of boundaries.
Sit, good control.
On the court, the lines are clear.
Save it, save it.
Anything outside them is off limits.
Hey, Joy, remember, you're an off hitter, you're up for tips.
It's a game that Sarah Powers Barnhart mastered.
There you go, way to be smart, good.
Teen star, turned pro, turned coach.
Hey, fight your platform.
She started playing club volleyball at Sports Performance Volleyball outside of Chicago when she was 15.
BP, you're an animal. Nice digs. It was like a cult, really.
Her coach, Rick Butler, promised to take her to the next level. He ran one of the most successful junior volleyball programs in the country and was her surest path to a college scholarship.
Rick made it really clear that if you played for anybody else, you probably weren't going to get that scholarship, that this was the only place you were going to get it. So you were well aware, yet you were tied in and you needed to commit to whatever that meant.
What that meant for Sarah was something completely out of bounds.
Practice covering your hitter.
In a lawsuit filed in 2016 against the AAU, Sarah alleges Butler sexually abused her while he was her coach and she was his star player. From the time she was 16 until she was 18, she says in her complaint, Butler sexually molested her.
It was a pretty rough time for me.
The first time she says he crossed the line was on an out-of-town volleyball trip.
And he explained to me that I needed to follow him blindly, and it means that I had to follow whatever he said whenever he said it. And at that point, he leaned over and kissed me.
That was just the beginning. Sarah says she lost her virginity to a coach she trusted.
And the sexual abuse started that summer.
How many times did Rick Butler sexually abuse you?
More than I can count. Yeah, hundreds. You're playing to not make an error. You didn't hit that ball like I know you can.
In 1995, Sarah told USA Volleyball's Ethics and Eligibility Committee that Butler sexually abused her. That committee found the allegations credible. In this letter to her attorney, the chair of the committee wrote, quote, "There is no question he is a talented and charismatic coach. Nonetheless, the psychological harm caused by his having entered into sexual relationships with children entrusted to his care far outweighs these accomplishments and necessitates the imposition of grave sanctions," end quote. In that committee hearing, Butler told USA Volleyball that he had a consensual sexual relationship with Sarah. He also said he had consensual sexual relationships with 2 others. Butler told the committee that the relationships with all 3 women began after they turned 18 and were no longer on his team. USA Volleyball banned Butler for life.
Now passers work on getting us a good pass.
5 years later, it reversed that decision. Butler was allowed back if he promised he would not coach junior girls.
Appalled. We never realized lifetime ban meant 5 years.
In a statement to First Coast News, the chair of the USA Volleyball Board of Directors, Lori Okamura, called the decision to reinstate Butler, quote, a mistake, and says he is still banned from coaching junior girls in any activity requiring USA Volleyball membership. Butler has never faced any criminal charges. The statute of limitations had expired by the time his alleged victims came forward. He denies ever sexually abusing anyone. Butler's attorney says the allegations are absolutely false, and in a statement says, quote, Rick Butler has never been accused of committing any crime, nor could he be based upon the complete fabrication invented by these women. First Coast News spoke with the 2 other women Butler told USA Volleyball he had had consensual relationships with. Those women alleged the relationships began when they were minors and that the sex was not consensual.
Why would we come forward if it didn't happen? You know, I'm not asking for money. I'm not asking for anything. The whole reason why I came forward was to help prevent it from happening to other girls.
49 years old, and there are still times, let me get it together here. It affects me every day. It affects me every day.
Butler continues to coach,
Save it.
which means that he and Sarah occasionally cross paths at tournaments.
Heard his voice, and I looked up, and he was sitting close to my table, and the reaction to me was I felt sick to my stomach.
Sarah worries she will again come face to face with Butler at the AAU Girls Junior National Volleyball Championships in Orlando next month. She sued the AAU last year to try to force the group to expel Butler. Last week, that suit was dismissed without prejudice, meaning that it can be refiled within 20 days.
The lawsuit is created to force the AAU to ban him from coaching. He was banned 20 years ago from USA Volleyball, and he's still coaching. It's a travesty.
Butler's attorney says the ban was unfair because USA Volleyball, quote, prevented Rick Butler from defending himself by not allowing him to present witnesses in his own defense. Butler's attorney says he's a member in good standing with both USA Volleyball and the AAU and has coached over 20,000 junior females over the past 16 years without a single complaint.
Let's keep score here.
But Sarah says the fact he's still on the court shows the AAU is more concerned with making money than protecting young girls.
He's one of the top junior volleyball coaches in the nation and brings a lot of money in. Really clear that money is creating a situation where they won't take him out. And that's sad because they're saying money's more important than the safety of these young players.
She says she's speaking out and will continue to do so for one reason.
No one was there for me. If I am doing anything that keeps somebody away from a little girl or gives a voice to a little girl, then it means something to me and I'll keep doing it.